I was there. I don't have to listen to it.
This week's show because it was a disaster.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
And I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and you're listening to Day Drinking on Delmarva, a show about life and culture on the Delmarva Peninsula. Todd drinks because he gets to live here. I drink because I have to live here. And there is so much going on. I don't know where to start. Todd got a bunch of cool stuff going on this week. Let's start with our sponsors. Each week, our sponsors are the drinks that we're drinking. This week, I'm drinking coffee because I'm driving to Ocean City. And if you drink and drive in Ocean City, you deserve what you get.
Yes.
That's positive, right?
Right. That's the nicest way you could say that.
But yes, and what are you drinking, Todd?
I am drinking my Old Faithful Bullet Bourbon with one nice big ice cube, and it's a well-deserved after a rather busy week since we last recorded. So
I had not a terribly busy week. I had some fun stuff happen. And actually, let me talk about that as a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Each week we're sponsored by a small local business or by me. I don't know if
You're a small local business.
I'm very small and I'm barely local. And I think you have to have income to have a business. I'm not sure.
Last time I checked.
But whatever the case, this week we're sponsored by a Bagel Manifesto. It is a weekly newsletter taking a look at the different ways that our culture is changing and the way that belief affects it. It's more fun than I make it sound. But it is inspired by and motivated towards selling my book, which is Dragged into the Light: Truthers, Reptilians, Super Soldiers, and Death Inside an Online Cult. It is available for purchase any place you can buy books. Also, I do have
it's going to be a big hit this summer. The book is going to be a big hit this summer.
It's going to be a big hit one summer. It'll probably the summer I die.
I feel it coming. Maybe it's 2022.
Well, this June could be the month where I have a little bit of I get a little bit more juice because I was in another documentary and it is coming out in June 9th at 10 p.m. on Discovery Investigation and Discovery ID. And that should be fun. I don't have either of those channels, but I'm sure someone will like it. I always get whenever the show runs on because I was in another one, the name of the show is called Devil in the Net. So
Devil in the Net.
Yeah. Okay. So and the first show was called The Devil You Know, season 2. And whenever that runs, whenever they run a marathon on it or they run the entire series back to back on like a Sunday or something on Vice TV, I get emails. And
fun emails.
Sometimes they're from crazy people. And sometimes they're from people who have experienced like horrible crimes and want me to write about them or suggest that maybe I might want to write about them. And it's always tempting. I got another one last week where I'm like, well, it's a hell of a story, but also I also want to be careful not to just be like some sort of vampire. I don't want to say, well, this is gory and lots of people got hurt, so I can sell it. That's not really like, if I also have to be able to find something bigger to say about the culture. That's what the Bagel Manifesto is about. That's what, when I'm opening my big trap on this show, is about. I'm really more interested in big picture things, which isn't to say don't send me your murder stories. Please send me your murder stories. But I can't do them all. I can't do them unless I can do a good job. And sometimes I can't do a good job. And sometimes I think I can. I'm working on one now that I think I'm going to do a good job on. And I have an inspiration for a true crime, another true crime adjacent podcast that I hopefully can mention in the next 2 weeks, because it's going to be something that I'm producing in the fall with any luck. Todd and I usually have a before talking time when I mention these things and give him actual details. but, but I'm on the clock today.
We just jumped right into it.
So I just mentioned that, and now I realize I opened that door, and Todd's gonna have to wait till next week to find out.
I'm just like a common listener.
Yeah, really.
Ooh,
since it's against the rules for us to each talk anytime at all, except when we're being recorded. Right. But so that's our sponsor. So please, if you like the show, if you like this show, first of all, tell someone else about it. I think you guys got a kick out of the photos last week. We got a little bit more traction than we normally do on the newsletter, which you can subscribe to at Day Drinking on Delmarva at Substack. And every week I write up a little something. The show comes out on Friday. We're recording this Tuesday, May 24th. And each week we start our show with a one cool thing, something cool that happened to us because we live here, because we work here. I mentioned my one cool thing already, which was which was finding out that the show's coming out. But Todd has a one cool thing that I want to get to in pretty short order, because I can't believe it's already that time of the year. We're right back into it.
Right back.
Where it's like every weekend is 52 days left in the year, you know?
Well, so I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to share my picture for the people who are able to watch us on our YouTube channel, Day Drinking on Delmarva. And this is actually an old picture of me way back in the day at Macky's Bar and Grill. And the history behind this is that I DJ'd for a time. Yes, I DJ'd for the time. Tony actually DJ'd also for a time. Am I right?
Yeah, it's one of the laws.
It's I think if you're a middle-aged man, it's like, you have to DJ for a summer if you live at the beach.
Yeah. Well, right? I DJ'd in New Jersey, but I was a wedding DJ, and yeah, there are stories. Sometimes I was talking to my wife about this week. One of the great and terrible things about having lived the kind of professional life I've lived is I just get flashbacks of jobs that I did that I had forgotten. Like, yeah. I worked at a place for like 3 years, and I'm like, oh Christ, did I do that? I did that. Why do I know? Oh, I did that professionally for a little while. Yeah. So yeah. DJing is one of those, and I have all the requisite wedding stories. My favorite ends with the bride going home in a hospital with alcohol poisoning.
That sounds like a good wedding.
Oh, there's you've done them. You know what it's like. Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail your story.
No, definitely not. And if you're able to watch this on YouTube, you can see I have probably the most ridiculous shirt I was able to find that week, and maybe I've ever found in my life. The shirt says "Seniors go drunk or go home." I don't think that's like grammatically correct. It's not a good message. I'm not even sure why they decided to put it on a t-shirt, but I'm standing on the bar at Macky's.
I think it is so adorable that you think they think about what they put on t-shirts in Ocean City. Like there's somebody like, would that make it good too? Who the fuck cares? Put it on a t-shirt. Some moron will buy it.
Yes. And in this case,
it was you.
Right? It was me. I'm that moron. I bought it. Although somewhat ironically, I believe this was the OC tourist themed party. I have white sunglasses on.
Yeah, you're wearing a costume. You're not wearing a t-shirt.
I have a shot ski in my hand, which I don't think I ever had done a shot ski until I was over 40 years old. But at any rate, years ago, I used to host the costume contest, the theme party contest at Macky's, and that's why I wanted to share this picture, because I dusted off my old MC hat, and this past weekend was the host of the Starboard Bloody Mary contest. So I've been at the Starboard for many, many years, doing videos, marketing, all that stuff. I think I did host something a while back, but it was fun to have the opportunity to jump up on stage at the Starboard. This was the Bloody Mary contest. It's much different than the one that the radio station does at Secrets.
Oh, I thought it was because that's in the summer, right?
Yeah, no, that one already happened. That was back in I think they do that in February or March.
All right, hell do I know. I'm sorry. Continue your story.
But this is more focused on the individual bartenders from different places. You know, they're obviously represented by certain spots, but it's kind of a bartender centric contest. And you know, like a lot of things that the Starboard does, it's pretty you know, it's good fun. It's competitive, and everybody takes the competition seriously, but they don't take themselves too seriously.
Right.
And it was neat to be able to be a part of that. It was sponsored by Tito's. The Bloody Mary contest was, and it had some great Tito's swag and prizes for the winners. Our friends Bethany Blues and Starboard Raw. Actually, you know, a couple of the family restaurants did win the judging portion of the contest, but the prize possession was the People's Choice Award, and it was quite impressive. Of all places, Starboard's neighbor Dewey Beer Co. are the ones who won the who took first place, and
what was
you know,
what was theirs? What made theirs distinctive?
well, you know, so it's a lot about the mix. It's since they have a panel of judges. There's 3 judges, so they don't do garnishes for every, you know, single one.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, creativity and that sort of thing is involved. And they did a southern hot chicken and waffle style garnish and mix, and it
Mm-hmm.
was it was good. It was creative, and the chef over there, who I met for the first time, Garrett, was he was really into it, and I just love seeing somebody's passion for something, you know, kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that it is also, you know, the local brewery in Dewey Beach, but they have great food. They have great cocktails, and you know, they do just about everything really well.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Dewey Beer Company. One of the things, though, that I wanted to kind of go back to with your photo, because I
Yes.
remember when you were doing that, and I remember kind of when you got to the end of it, and as people who do things the way we do them, which is essentially piecework, you know, we have our list of things that we do to make an income. And there's
Right.
always something on that list. It's like, yeah, if I make another dollar someplace else, I'm done doing this. And by the
Yes.
time you were done with Macky's, you were also done with Macky's.
What I was done with was hosting a contest that didn't start
I know.
until 1 a.m.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't mean to suggest at all that you were done with the bar, but
Right,
you were done with that part of life. Like,
yes.
if I can imagine there are a number of things that I would never do again.
Mm.
But if I were in the position where I had to, I would do wedding DJing again, but I would never apply for a DJ wedding job. I would find myself in dire straits and say, well, that wasn't so bad. Right.
Right.
But
I
I
think that's the
remember,
way to do it.
I just remember the last year when you're like, you know, I got to go to this party again. And, you know, and because you also had to come up with costumes every week. And it was
Yeah.
always, you
Yeah.
know, it was always a thing. It wasn't just, wasn't as much fun as it looks like in this picture, I guess.
It's I mean, like anything, our job is enjoyable, and just like all things that are enjoyable, you know, it's only enjoyable to a point. I think I'd like, you know, maxed out my dopamine rush for, you know, for being a 40 something year old dude up with you know, a bunch of 20 and 30-year olds.
Right.
You know, I wasn't slinging shots. I wasn't making a ton of money. I was, it was a little bit of an ego trip for sure. But we also, and probably the most enjoyable part was getting to meet people, and you know, the staff at Mackey's is such a family, and being involved with them. And we took pictures of everybody who came through. So we were in charge of the step and repeat as all of these, and people would go, at least back in the day. I don't even know if they're still doing it anymore, but back in the day, people would go all out for these costumes. And, they had some pretty creative themes that definitely raised a few eyebrows, including the ABC, the Anything But Clothes party, where you'd have 20 and 30-year-olds wearing next to nothing. I mean, and drinking all night at the bar. And I did feel comfortable because my friend DJ Cowboy, who's actually older than I am, is still doing it. Like he was gray beard and still spinning tunes.
So. Now I have to ask you a question about Ocean City, old timey Ocean City, because when you said DJ Catboy or whatever, Cowboy, I thought of DJ Batman. Does DJ Batman still work?
I have not seen. No, I don't think he's. I don't think he's working. I know that he went from. Last I saw him, he was doing the early bird shift of Deck Party at Fager's Island, which is, he was a big part of probably making Deck Party, what it was, which was kind of a, Monday night industry night. Everybody who worked all hard and had cash in their pocket would go to Deck Party, and watch the sunset and that sort of thing. But I'm not sure that he's still at it.
He was getting up there. I mean, he was getting up there when I first moved here. And what I recall, and this is the thing, when you get introduced to the area in the way that I got introduced to it, it's just, there was no winning, for anybody. But I remember checking my calendar because I'm like, Batman was out 12 years ago. Why are you still calling yourself DJ Batman? And it was a weird choice. It was like he got caught up in a zeitgeist 10 years previous.
Yeah.
And then just, he was like a name. And there was that weird transitional piece where DJs with names that, and I don't mean like Modest Mouse or something that make different songs out of DJs but I mean just like, I'm going to play, Cream's greatest hits tonight, DJs, but they have their name, like DJ Batman. DJ Batman will be here. Wow, I hope he has Derek and the Dominoes again. Like, how is that a draw? But it was for the first decade I was here, and for clearly a decade before I got here.
Yeah. I think he like you said, he got caught up in the zeitgeist. He was he had to be one of the first party DJs, like not a proper DJ that didn't exist, like not a mixer, but like the party DJ. And I do believe that Batman came from a sponsorship of Bacardi. So the Bacardi bat, and and swag, and he'd throw swag out and stuff like that. And I'm 48 years old, Tony, and I saw DJ Batman when I was in high school at my brother's fraternity house at Bucknell University. Like, what is he doing in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania?
He was crazy hot for some reason. And he wore a cowboy hat, I guess, is when you said DJ Cowboy, that's what rang my bell. I was wondering if he just went and broke down and changed his name to DJ Cowboy. But I guess they keep putting out a Batman movie every 12 years now. So he's
relevant. He's still relevant.
So here's the DJ Batman. I didn't mean to go there, but you made me.
Yeah.
My picture. So in this week's newsletter, if you sign up, or if you go to not a Bagel Manifesto, but if you go to daydrinkingondelmarva.substack.com, I've been writing about flags for a long time. Yes. And people, I don't disapprove of people having flags on front of their home. I just don't participate. I don't get it. I don't know. Do you have a flag, Todd, on the front of your house?
We do. We've had the Berlin flag, which is very nice. We've had the gay pride flag flying, and we've had the Maryland flag, and of course the American flag years ago. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't begrudge anyone their flag. What I do wonder about is, what you're putting it out there for. Like, I think you should decorate your house to your taste. Like, my house is really kooky and too much, and nothing matches. And it's on purpose. It's my wife's aesthetic. I like it. She likes it. We sit in the house all the time and look at it. That's fine. I think when
Right.
you're decorating your home, it's also important to take like your neighbors into consideration.
Sure.
And I've written at length about this, and I'm going to put up I've written a lot of flag essays, but this was kind of the photo that I have up this time is kind of the one that started it all. It says home something home. And now
It's amazing.
since you know that it's supposed to be home sweet home,
Yeah.
this is a word I'm uncomfortable with. I don't mind cursing, but there are some words that just make me feel a little gross. This is a word that makes me feel a little gross, but I'm going to say it anyway. Because of the type script that whoever made this in China chose, it looks like it says home, twat, home.
It totally does. In fact, I had to look hard to find the sweet.
I drove around the block. When I saw this flag, I'm like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
And I drove around the block so I could take a picture and check with other people, because I thought, I mean, a lot of the times I'm certainly mean when I'm driving around, looking at things and saying how crappy I think they are, because I'm a broken, bitter old man. But I'm like, no, I think that's what it says. And so when you're choosing your flag, all I'm asking is that you just think about the people who live across the street. Think about the people who are driving by. One of the things that I like to say is that a flag is like a bumper sticker for your house. I'm not nuts about bumper stickers on cars, and I'm not nuts about bumper stickers on houses, because a lot of times they're impulse purchases. Like you're like, oh, look, this is cool. I like this now. Let me put this on my car and forget that I have it there forever. Right. And no matter no matter what happens in the world, I've already made my statement about it on my bumper sticker that's peeling away. I recently wrote about a house near me that has a bunch of fuck Biden flags flying in front of it.
Right.
And that was the latest in my flag. It's not a trilogy. It's like there are 6 or 7. I take pictures of people's houses and I'm like, what are you trying to say? Confederate flags, blue line flags, fuck Biden flags, and home twat home flags. and they all kind of have the same thing going on, which is a misunderstanding about what it's. If you want to make your house look nicer, or if you want to make a statement of some sort, it's the writer in me. Choose your audience. If your audience is anybody who happens down my block, then that's the message you should put out. I think this was an unfortunate choice. I can't believe no one else sees it. That's what drives me crazy. What drives me crazy, like if I bought that online and for some reason didn't see it when I bought it, I don't know how you buy it. And I don't like to do this. If you're listening to this on the podcast, this should be the cover of the podcast. So hopefully you can see it on the episode. If not, I'm not kidding. It's not, you have to look to see how it says sweet.
It's not even close.
I think they're going for home, tweet home, now that I think about it. But there's no birds on there.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Or
Like,
maybe those are birds and not apples. I don't know. It's
or
really
maybe when they made it in China, the Google Translate went from sweet to tweet,
I
or there was a miss here.
right, but I could see how it might say tweet, but those E's are not, they're not even uniform. They're two different E's. It looks like I literally wrote that by hand because that's what it
Yeah.
looks like when I write tweet, or that's what it used to look like when I wrote tweet until I realized what else it looked like when you weren't careful enough. And
If
so
I see that in the store, I'm definitely buying it, by the way, but for different reasons
you
than this
have to
person.
put it up on purpose or by accident. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, right? But I mean, when you look at the flag and you're like, you know what, is this a flag should be more. I mean, I understand that we don't think about bumper stickers anymore. I don't know why, but we don't. But when you want to put a flag in front of your house, put whatever you like, right? But I think that if you're not careful, you could send the wrong message. And I think of the fuck Biden thing, and I mean that's what it says. It says fuck Biden and fuck you for voting for him, and he's
Right.
essentially just saying it to his neighbor across the street. And this is Delmar, and I'll tell you what, your neighbor across the street, no way in hell did they vote for Biden. There's not one person on that block who voted for Biden, but all of their children have to look at this guy's fuck flag every day. And I don't know, like, I don't know what compels people to do that. Like, I almost get the bumper stickers. Like, we're all on the road to try to make each other mad and miserable and ruin days as best as we can. I'm with you. But this idea that you want to torture, like, I'm very sensitive. All right, I'm the worst neighbor in the world now that I've talked about that. I have a cover for my wood, stacked wood next to the house. It's a cheap and garbage cover, and it blows off with some regularity. Not only with some regularity, it blows off right before my neighbor has to cut her grass, and it blows into her way, and she has to constantly pick it up and move it out of her way so she can cut her grass. I can't believe she hasn't burned my house down yet. Right. This is the same neighbor. I let the tree fall on her house. It was just awful, awful, awful. And so I know what it's like to be a bad neighbor and to feel guilty about it. And, if you're a bad neighbor, I guess at least have the decency to feel guilty about it. Is that what I'm saying?
I don't know. What are you trying to say with your cheap firewood cover? Are you virtue signaling with
Yeah, I'm virtue. I'm actually I'm just an absolute slob. And some things don't get fixed.
I think that the point of bumper stickers originally, and maybe cutesy flags, like little yard ornament type things, was initially to brighten somebody's day. Say something funny, say something cheeky, say something,
right.
And then of course it's taken the turn of where, like the currency we trade in is offensiveness. So,
right.
If you like, if you are making a statement and it's not offensive, it's not being heard. So
right.
like I think that's a shame. I think I have fond memories of like road trips and like seeing a bumper sticker and I don't know, being a little kid and maybe it said boobs on it or something, like,
right, yeah.
Like, and there was something nostalgic and fun.
Well, I remember the first one sticks out in my mind is, if you can read this, you are too damn close. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, they wrote damn right on their right on their phone, right their phone, their car.
It's right on the car. Yeah. Yeah, and now it's just like, and now you have stickers at gas pumps that are, making completely missing a political point, but but then you just feel bad for, kind of the ridiculousness of it. But.
Yeah. So anyway, look at your flags, people, and do a better job. The end.
A
Well,
bagel manifesto.
We're up against it this week, so we're gonna close it down. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to follow us socially, or at least tell someone else about this show. We would like it if you listened. If you're a YouTube type person, we put them out on YouTube now every Friday morning. This will be out. That's all I got. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, till next time, remember that at the beach,
it's happy hour whenever you say it is. Cheers.